TinkerCAD tips. Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be part 2 of where I was showing how I made this birdhouse in TinkerCAD. Now, in part 1, we were working on these parts here in order to cut the lip and to build the front for the front of the birdhouse. And I had shown where I had made this hole shape, and this outside line was 2.6 millimeters for a little tolerance. And over here we had one with a 2.5. What I wanted to show you here is that when I grouped these together, it left us with these odd remnants in here. There wasn't a perfect overlap between the center part and the outer part. So what I want to show you here is how we can quickly address this. And this works in this particular case. Let's make sure that we have this ungrouped. There we go. So we have this center part here. It's 4 millimeters in height. Let's make that 4 millimeters. And this is a silhouette shape. And then we have this outer line, rounded corners, 2.6 line width. Now, in order to prevent that strange overlap and leaving those remnants, we can make this inner part just a wee bit bigger. So what I'm going to do here is click on that center one and holding down Alt and Shift so everything gets resized proportionately. I'm going to click in this bottom corner, and this measurement of 230, I'm going to change to 231. I'm going to click back on the center here again to make sure that it's still just 4 millimeters. I can select on the both of those, Control G to group. We're going to change that into a hole. That looks pretty good. We need to do something similar for this one over here. Let's ungroup that. We have this center piece here, the silhouette part. I'm going to Alt-Shift, resize that to 231. I'm going to click on this outer one here, outer line, rounded corners with a line width of 2.5. I'm going to make sure that center one is still just 4 millimeters. I'm going to select on the two of those. Control G to group those together. Awesome. Now we have our two parts that we can use to cut the lip and to make the front of this birdhouse. So let's start by cutting the lip in this. I'm going to select on this hole shape, Shift select on this outer wall, L for align. I'm going to select this outer wall, make it the master. We'll raise the height. We'll center it in this direction and in this direction. Going to move in here. You can see how that's going to cut halfway into that outer wall to make our lip. I'm going to select those two parts, and I'm going to union group those together. Control G. Everything looks good there. We have that nice outer lip. Now we can take our other part over here, do the same thing. While that's selected, I can Shift select this, L for align, click on the wall here, make it the master. We'll raise it up, center it in that direction, center it in that direction. Check our fitment here. Let's make sure when we zoom in that we have just a little bit of a gap between those parts. You can sort of see that gap there. So when we print this, it should still fit. We can go ahead and click on that. For now, we can raise it up. All right, the next thing we need to make is the drainage holes at the bottom here. You can see these back here, these small drainage holes. And up at the top, I also have some small holes that can be used to put wire through to hang this from your tree or whatever you're going to hang it from. So let's zoom in here. Let's bring out the whole cylinder. I'm going to Alt-Shift, click on one of the corners. Let's make this about 3 millimeters. Let's upsize it a little bit. Come to the side. We'll click on this rotation handle, and holding the Shift key to keep it at 45-degree increments, I'm going to roll this over to 90 degrees. Now we can take and drag that over here to our box. Kind of get one of them started where we want it to be. Let's bring it up a bit. That's pretty good. Control D, let's make a duplicate of that. I'm going to shift nudge this over. To right about there. Now, to make sure that these are evenly spaced between the two sides, I can select this other one, shift select it, and for now I can do a union group. Control B. I can shift select on the wall, L for align, click on the wall to keep it the master, and bingo bango, those two holes will get centered. There we go. I can click on those holes, Control D to duplicate. Holding down the Control key and Shift, I can nudge the duplicate up a bit. So let's say right about there. Okay, let's make another duplicate of those, Control D. Let's drag those off to the side. We'll use these on the top. Oops, let's undo that. Let's ungroup these. Select one of them here. Let's get rid of that. Now we have this second one over here that we can use to go around the top of our birdhouse. Oops, we don't want to do that. Let's shift nudge this over. Zoom in here. Let's get it about where we want it. That should be good. I'm going to make a duplicate of that. Control D. Shift nudge it over a bit. Get a rough idea where we want that. And just like before, I'm going to shift select the second one. I'm going to bundle group, Control B. Then I'm going to shift select on this outer part of it here, the shell. Click on alignment, or L. Click on the wall to make it the master. There we go. We got those aligned down the center. Do the same thing here. Let's Control D duplicate. We can bring these up to where we want them. Now, remember that we're going to have a screw hole up here and a screw in the middle of this. So we don't want to come up too high, that it would interfere with that. There we go. So now we have all of those holes. Let's group all of that together. So I'm going to grab all of this. So I have the outer wall, I have that back or bottom shape, and I have all of the holes. And let's union group those together. Fantastic. We have our drainage holes in the bottom. We have our lip cut into the edge around here. And we have our holes in the top. So we're at just a little over 9 minutes. We're going to continue this on part 3. Be watching for that. In the next part, I'll be making the rest of the front of this birdhouse and possibly get into making the screws back here. All right, we'll see you on the next one. As always, drop me some comments. That's good for the algorithm. Like, follow, and repost. If you have ideas for other TinkerCAD tips and tutorials, you can always DM me and shoot those to me, and perhaps if I haven't already done one, I can do a tutorial on that. Happy tinkering!